The second suspect was carrying a knife, and when I was coming outside, he chased me. I jumped the wall to the neighboring house. I cannot describe the knife. You see that? Is that one correct?
Yes.
Okay, and also it is your evidence here in court that you cannot describe the knife.
Yes.
And I'm putting it to you that the reason why you cannot describe the knife, it's because there was no second suspect who was in possession of the knife.
Before he responds, just think about the question you've just posed. You see, you're saying there was no second suspect who carried a knife. The implication or insinuation is that there was a suspect, a second or other suspect.
Oh, sorry, my lord, can I just rephrase?
Yes.
Can I just rephrase?
Yes.
In this statement, you were referring to the second intruder, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you say you cannot describe the knife in which the second intruder possessed.
Yes.
Then I'm saying to you, you cannot give the description of the knife the alleged second intruder possessed because there was no second intruder who entered the house.
Engingakusho ke mina ukuthi wayekhona umuntu wesibili wayephethe ummese lapha ngingavele ngithi wayengekho nje umuntu ngobani wayekhona umuntu wesibili wayephethe ummese and uyena lo waphuma nami wangijaha.
What I can say then is that if there was a second person there who was carrying a knife, why would I then say there was no person? There was a second person, and that person went out with me and chased me.
Yeah, but you further cannot describe him, that person. The second intruder, man.
Manje ukuthi angikwazi ukumchaza umuntu kusho ukuthi wayengekho yini.
Does it then mean that there was no person if I'm unable to describe him?
Yes.
Ngibe ngikushilo ukuthi angimbonanga kahle.
When I have said that I didn't see him properly.
Shuthi wena ufuna ngichaza amanga ke manje.
Then you want me to tell lies now.
Let's move on to the next line.
So help me understand a few things. First of all, this is the cross-examination of Mzansi Twala, Senzo Meyiwa's friend. Senzo Meyiwa's friend, where Senzo Meyiwa and Uzandi went to his house and he went to change, and then they went to KHUMALO'S house, okay? His testimony is all over the place, okay? You'll hear for yourself just how confusing it is. But this is what I need you guys to help me with. Why is it that when someone is on the witness stand, and I've never been on the witness stand, but maybe you guys might have an idea why this would happen. Why are they so defensive? If Mshololo'S is asking a basic question, just questions about what happened on the day you were there, why do they not just answer the questions? Why are they so defensive? Why is there some attitude being given? Why can the question not just simply be answered? I truly, truly would love to understand that, because I just see no reason why he is on the defensive, or unless he's lying. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below, but let's continue listening on, because I promise you the story gets more and more interesting. Is it a cooked story, or should I say the story keeps cooking and cooking, and then Mshololo, atsukai pag.
To the next line, which starts would say, I saw the second suspect walking in the street and I even pointed him out to the neighbors. I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the street as it was dark. Is that statement correct?
Yebo, it's correct.
Yes, it is correct.
And it is correct that it was dark in the street?
It was already dark, it was at night.
And you couldn't see what he was wearing?
Attire, which attire also show the whole attire. Attire show njalo. Attire show the whole. Yeah, when say a hoodie, why go hoodie? Most attire, but I blue, attire yonke le.
I was specifically referring to the hoodie, but once it says attire, it refers to everything that he was wearing.
But firstly, I asked if this statement is correct. You remember? I read it to you. I asked if it's correct. You said it's correct. It says, I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the street as it was dark. Is that correct? Is that what you said in your statement?
Yes, that is what I said.
What did you mean when you were referring to the attire?
As I've said, attire, attire. It's that's an attire. I refer to hood, so the whole attire is completely another different perspective lab.
Okay.
When I specifically
on the same page here,
I specifically mentioned the hoodie. When once now the reference is made to the attire, it then refers to everything that he was wearing, and that is now something totally different. I don't know whether we're on the same page.
Okay, so what did you mean when you said this? Were you referring to the hood or are you referring to the rest of the clothing of that person? So that I get it from you.
I think into fancy understand ukuthi umuntu osuke kubhalisa statement usuke kubuza yena. So umuntu mayengibuza ngegama elithi attire, mina ngizomphendula ngo-attire lo awushoyo. Lo bhalwe la, mina ngikaze ngimention u-attire. Umuntu obengibuza la umention u-attire. So that's why ngisho ukuthi u-attire angikwazi wonke u-attire bakhe. Ngoba egcineni ngizobe sengichaza amateki uzobuza amateki kanjani, ayimhlophe noma ayiblue noma enjani. So into engeke ngikwazi ukuyisho le angithi, but ngikhumbula i-hoodie. So iyona into engishilo. So attire is completely something different.
We first then have to understand with regards to the person that then took down the statement from me. The person is the one who made mention of the word attire, and in my response, I then responded according to how I was asked. And because now, if I stick to the word attire, you're going to ask me about the sneakers or the techies, what the color it was, the pants, and just everything. I specifically made mention of the hoodie.
So it means here you were referring to the hoodie only, not the rest of the clothing of the second intruder.
Okusho ukuthi la wena nje ngokwakho wakhuluma kuphela wena ngehoodie ungakhuluma konke awayegqokile.
Yet again, uthi attire. I mean, I'm referring to his attire. Njoba ngishilo ukuthi I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the street as it was dark. Attire.
Yeah.
That's attire in everything that your person is wearing. I mean, manje bungosuthi in attire uzosho ukuthi na attire kugqoka jeans with blue.
Okay, so what is it that you couldn't observe?
The attire.
Attire lokho awayegqokile.
Including the hoodie.
The attire.
Yeah? What's attire meaning what?
Attire meaning everything that is wearing.
Including the hoodie.
Awayegqokile.
Attire.
Okay. You did not see because it was dark.
Awabonake nokuthi kwakumnyama.
Yes, I did not see his attire because it was dark.
Yebo lokho.
It's the insisting on the word attire for me. It's the insisting. Then he forgets that he's supposed to speak in isiZulu, and then he speaks in English because of his frustrations. And then the interpreter has to, switch. And it's just so confusing. But Mshololo and Rata are having fun with this one because he's not make sure. He's not make sure. So let me know in the comment section down below if his Nganegwane is making sense. Well, he could not see the second suspect because he had a knife. Okay, he couldn't see, but he could see the knife. But he doesn't know what he was wearing. His attire. He doesn't know what his attire was, but he had a hoodie on. Which is it? The story is quite confusing, but then now we move into scenes at the hospital, and he gets even more defensive. Here we go.
There is witness who testified before this court by the name of Ntabiseng Mokete, who said he was inside the car on the same street, sitting inside. Did you see any car when you were going to Ngashe's homestead?
Angeke ngizongikhumbula ngiyazi nemoto ukuthi ayime kuphi. Mina ukuphuma kwami ngingena ka next door, so imoto angiyazi ukuthi ayime kuphi.
But I wanted to call because I don't know where specifically the car was parked. I just went out and jumped into the neighbors. So
ekubalekweni kami la ngibaleke khona ayikho imoto la.
So you did not see?
La ngibaleke khona mina ayikho imoto engayibona. Angazi ke imoto yakho Ntabiseng ayipake kuphi.
Where I ran, there was no car, or I saw no car there. So I don't know where Ntabiseng's car was parked.
Okay, thank you. There was no car there. And further to that, Ntabiseng said it was not dark. It was not that dark. It was lit because there were some other. There were electricity around the houses there. In other words, there was some light. And she could see people running.
Yes, it could be. It could be very ukuthi nje mina ngithi dark ngirefera ku dark ukuthi kwakuyisebusuku, but at the same time futhi nabe kuthiwa kunama lights kuyaba dark futhi nabe kuthiwa ikhona ama lights but kuyaba dark endaweni emalokishini.
It could be that, as I'm saying, it was dark because I'm referring to the fact that it was during the night, or it was at night. But even if yes, there are lights in the township, but even though there are lights, but it gets dark.
Okay, Mtogo, you're confusing me now. Was it dark or not dark?
To me, it was dark.
To me, it was dark.
Thank you very much, Mtogo. Let's move on. And whilst I'm on referring you to the witness, thank you, my lord. I'm done with the two exhibits, U1 and U2. Whilst I'm still referring to the evidence of Ntabiseng Mokete, Ntabiseng, she further testified that she went to the hospital. Did you see her in the hospital?
Engakusho ke ngalapha ukuthi kwayimanje uNtabiseng angimazi mina. Akazi ukuthi uba uNtabiseng angimazi nje uNtabiseng mina.
What I can say with regards to that, I don't know who Ntabiseng is. Even as I'm speaking, I just don't know who Ntabiseng is.
Ngeke ngimkhombe ngisho umkhombe uNtabiseng.
I wouldn't even be in a position to point her out.
So ngeke ngize ngibone ke esibhedlela umuntu engamazi.
So I wouldn't see someone in hospital that I don't know.
And then Ntabiseng further testified that she heard Zandi KHUMALO'S voice screaming, saying that Ntabiseng, please call ambulance, and said at that time He was standing inside KHUMALO'S premises next to the substation.
Ntabiseng was standing inside.
No, Zandi.
Zandi.
Ntabiseng heard Zandi screaming and shouting whilst Zandi was inside KHUMALO'S homestead, saying, and Ntabiseng said this happened after the last gunshot was fired. And then after that, he immediately saw, the first person he saw, it was Zandi, who came out screaming. You understand? As you were outside, I'm taking that you were outside at that time when the last shot was fired. You were outside by Ngashe's premises. Did you see Zandi screaming? Did you hear Zandi screaming to Ntabiseng?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngike ngasho ukuthi ngezwe amazwi abantu ababekumemeza bekhala kwase kuphuma uMakakheli. That's when ngaphuma ngajumpa ngabuza uMakakheli mina ukuthi ulo muntu odubulisa khona engaphakathi. So ukuthi uZandi wayiscreama noma kakubani angisikhumbulike lokho ngeke ngize ngikwazi ukukhomenta kakhulu ngakho. Shuthi Ntabiseng ngena kuzosho into ayishoyo yena.
I think I did make mention of the fact that I heard people's voices or people screaming and shouting, and I then came out and I then saw Zandi's mother. I then inquired from her whether the person was still there. She told me that the person was no longer there. As to whether that was Zandi or who, that I wouldn't know. Ntabiseng said so.
Okay. My goodness, the story is not storying because, wait, so Zandi was screaming and to Ntabiseng, asking Ntabiseng for help, and then Zandi was the first one to come out of the house. But according to Mtogo, he says it was KHUMALO'S mother who came out first from the house, and he went to ask her, have the intruders left? But this is where, for me, story, no, it's not working. The Nganegwane is not Nganegwaning, okay? A whole man left the house, ran out of the house, whatever it is, but stayed within the vicinity. So you didn't go hide, you didn't disappear. It's clear you're a coward, you've left the people in the house, you do not care. But you stayed within the vicinity, Nyana. Enough to hear Zandi screaming and asking for help, but enough to hear, according to him, people screaming and asking for help, enough to see Zandi's mother walk out, and then now you've returned your interest levels. Now you want to know what's going on. It's giving one man for himself and God for us all. But you know what? Indaba zabantu ngiyazithanda. I'm gonna hang around to see what happens. Senzo Meyiwa was his friend, and if these are the friends that Senzo Meyiwa had, wow, crazy. It sounds to me like it's cooking, but let me know in the comment section if you're following so far the Nganegwane, because wow.
Okay, from where did you hear those people screaming?
From
the
KHUMALO'S house.
Where?
From
KHUMALO'S house.
Bememezela ke kubona kubokulokheli.
Inside the house.
Yeah, I think it was inside coming out.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kwakungaphakathi ke kumela ngaphandle.
Okay. If it was inside coming out, did you see who came out screaming? Whether it was Zandi or Makumalo?
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi ngikhumbulayo kakuMakakheli yena umuntu engikhumbulayo ngiyabona.
As I've already said that the person that I recall seeing was Kelly's mother.
Thank you. Miss Ntabiseng Muketa further testified that she was the first person to be called in hospital into the room where the deceased was lying, and she was the first person to be told about the death of the deceased.
So what happened in the hospital for me has always been unclear. First of all, who is Ntabiseng that the hospital can break procedure and inform a random person? What is her relationship to Senzo Meyiwa that she could have been given such delicate information as opposed to maybe calling the baby mama and letting the baby mama know? How does it work? I thought that only family members, close family members, are the ones who are brought in to see the deceased and. Let me know in the comment section down below.
But you testified, correct me if I'm wrong, and you said Zandi and Kelly, they were called, you also then followed them into the room. And then you were told... Kelly's mom. Yes. Then you were called into the room. You were also told about the death of the deceased. Am I correct there?
Right.
No, you just followed, not that you were called. You followed, you decided to follow them.
I understand futhi angicommente kakhulu ngento esho Ntabiseng angimazi ukuthi ngempela ngabe unumber bakusense lapha bafuna unumber bafuna umuntu omdala for which kwaya uMakakheli from uMakakheli mina ngalandela ngangena ngafica uSenzo bemboza ngamvula mina personally so kusho Ntabiseng angeke ngize ngicommente kakhulu ngakho mina ngisho okwenzeka ukuthi bafubiza uMakazandi.
I'm not going to say much on what was said by Ntabiseng. I don't even know how she is to Senzo, or related she is to Senzo. I said that they were looking for an elderly person. Zandi's mother then went. I followed. When I got into that room, they were covering Senzo, and then I opened him.
But was Can you recall if Nthabiseng was present when the doctor conveyed the message to you in Makumalo about the death of the deceased?
Njengoba ngishilo Nthabiseng angimkhumbuli. Ave ukukhulu ukukhumbula umuntu ongamazi. Angimkhumbuli.
Yes, I've already said that I can't remember Nthabiseng. It is so difficult, so hard to remember someone you don't know.
Okay, it's fine. If you can't remember her in hospital, it's fine. Let's move on further. If you can remember, at what stage did Makumalo arrive in hospital?
It wasn't after thina sifikile.
It was not long after we had arrived.
With whom did she arrive in hospital? If you can remember?
No, wafika ehamba nobani?
Angisakhumbuli ukuthi wafika nohamba nobani ngoba vele thina sasesingaphakathi angisi ngoba sasiphuthumise usento.
I can't remember in whose company she was because we were already inside rushing Senzo.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit to the evidence of Zandi Khumalo. Inside the house now, we're going back from the hospital. Or maybe, sorry, let me just cover at the hospital, the questions that are at the hospital. When you were inside the room with Makumalo, when you were told about the death of the deceased, where was Kelly Khumalo?
I think uKelly wayese reception area because ngiyakhumbula babehleli phansi nje mbamba phansi babekhalela lapho phansi, so I think walapha ngase reception area.
I think she was at the reception area because they were seated flat. They were set flat at the reception. That's why they were crying.
Okay. Do you know what happened to the deceased phone from the robbery incident up to the time when you moved into the hospital? Or if it was robbed?
Ukuthi yathathwa yini?
I can't say ithathwa ngefoni yakhe.
No, I think it wasn't taken.
No, ngoba ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngathi ifoni yani kumaka Senzo. Ngathi ngiyakhumbula kumaka Senzo at some point emva kwesikhathi nje. So angiboni ukuthi yarobha.
I think I do recall that.
I stand corrected. But ngiyakhumbula ngathi yani phatha yani kumaka Senzo.
That it was handed over to Senzo.
Yes.
Okay, that it was handed over to Senzo's mother. I stand to be corrected, but I don't know exactly when.
Okay, but that would have happened at a later stage. I'm just asking about the date of the incident.
Who
was in possession of the deceased cell phone from the place of the shooting incident up to the hospital, if you know?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I really don't know.
Okay. And you testified that Kelly Khumalo refused with the ID for the deceased.
Ushilo nokuthi ke wanqaba uKelly ngeID kamufi.
Yebo wanqaba kumina.
Yes, she refused to me.
Did he tell you the reason why?
Ngaba wasisho isizathu.
Ngathi manje ngoba ngisho ukuthi ngaya eMalbathi ngiyofuna iID, wangitshela wathi iID ngeke nginike, uzoyigcina kuyena, uzolinda ubhuti kaSenzo nobaba kaSenzo kube yibona abazoyi landa iID kubona, for which ngathi mangifika ngathi stand mayifika ngathi stand afika ngolesibili after siyomove Senzo eJemiston elo same identify isibhuti sakhe ngamsusa khona ngamusa kuKelly eyofuna iID.
The reason she gave me was that she was going to wait for Senzo's father and brother and to come to her and ask for the ID. Indeed, Stan arrived on the Tuesday. So when we were coming back from Jamestown, I then took Stan to Malbatin.
Nakhona futhi waqale wanqaba nezinto zaSenzo neID including ID, but ekugcineni kwasekhona namaphoyisa nabanye ngeke ngibasho ukuthi bawobani ke ababe gwethu Senzo lento ayibhola idlala wagcina sekhiphile iID.
At first she refused, but then there were police and other people that I'm not going to mention in the circle of football, but then she only took out or gave them the ID.
Okay, that was the Tuesday after the Sunday of the incident?
Yes.
Okay. There is evidence that a swim swap was done on the deceased cell phone. Do you know anything about that? And Colonel Stein further testified that a person who could have been able to do the SIM swap on the deceased cell phone is the person who was in possession of the deceased ID. But as a friend, I'm just asking if you have any knowledge about that.
I'm hearing it for the first time. And it is shocking to me that happened in his absence or when he was no more.
But it is your evidence that the ID for the deceased was Miss Kelly Khumalo until the Tuesday, from the day.
Sorry.
Until Tuesday after the incident.
Yes, it is true. Yes, it is true because I saw the ID on the Monday as well as on the Tuesday when she handed it over.
Okay. Let's just quickly finalize this. As a close friend of the deceased, Can you describe, do you know the nature, what was the nature of the relationship between Ms. Kelly Khumalo and the deceased?
Nanjengomuntu ke obe umngani wakhe ke umufi ungachaza I relationship ukuthi yayi kanjani ke relationship phakathi kwakho umufi kanye naye uKelly.
At that time of the incident, around October, what was happening between Kelly and the deceased?
Ngaleso sikhathi leso sango October kwakwenzekani phakathi kwabo babili.
Kumina kuzoba nzimani ukuthi ngichaze lokho ngoba manje ngizoyibuka ngelinye ihlo mina olaziyo ngicabanga nawe.
To me it's going to be difficult to explain that because I'm going to say it now in a different light which you also know.
Engingakusho nje ukuthi bona vele babethandana babe kwi relationship and angibambe kanjalo nje ngoba manje mina ngathiwa ngiyakhuluma kuzoba ngathi mhlawumbe yebo.
Let me just say that the two of them, they were in a relationship, they loved each other, so let me just hold it there because it's going to seem as if now.
Yeah, no one will take you the other way around. But yeah, I'm going to ask this Honorable Court that we take a short adjournment and then we'll proceed after a short adjournment.
And so there you have it, Mzansi, the cross-examination of Senzo Meyiwa's friend, who was there at the time of the shooting of Senzo Meyiwa. So he is one of the people who knows who knows who shot Senzo Meyiwa, whether it was the intruders or someone from within the house. Who is it? Is it a cover-up or was it a robbery gone wrong? This also highlights as well where he talks about Senzo Meyiwa's ID. At that time when he mentions about the ID, Kelly Khumalo refused with the ID. Why was Kelly Khumalo refusing with the ID, waiting for the family to come to pick up his things? All these things for me are surprising. Or was it Kelly Khumalo realizing that, oh my goodness, Senzo Meyiwa has died, he hadn't lobolad me, I have a baby, what's going to happen next? Am I going to get anything out of this? But he told me he's left his wife. I mean, he was living with me. All his possession is here. I have the car. I think a lot was going through Kelly Khumalo's mind at the time. I think as well she was in survival mode. At the same time as well, who exactly killed Senzo? She was there. She was there and she still has not yet come to the witness stand to tell the court what exactly happened to Senzo Meyiwa, her daughter's father. What happened to him on that night? All rumors aside, all animosity aside, why would she not want to come and have her version on record? And I wouldn't say want to come. Why hasn't she been called? Why isn't she out there talking the loudest like Chikotwala in terms of explaining herself, in terms of every time her name is mentioned in court, her saying something? Why is it Chikotwala has the adverse reaction to Kelly Khumalo, who was actually in the house? Who is the chief mourner or second chief mourner? Or was Kelly Khumalo holding on to the idea so that she could be the chief mourner status? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and why at that time Kelly Khumalo had Senzo Meyiwa's ID. Mshololo'S proves that with this witness's testimony that Kelly Khumalo is the one who was in possession of the ID. And Colonel Stallion says what? There was a SIM swap. So what exactly happened there? Quite interesting turn of events. But again, we're waiting for the 205s. So maybe next week we will finally know. Swap, and why was the SIM swap done? What is it that she needed to remove? Let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll catch you on our next upload. But before you leave, please consider tapping the like button. It is absolutely free. If you've made it this far, also consider subscribing to the channel. We do our uploads over here. And if you've made it this far, you're already subscribed, you already know you're part of the VIP gang. Thank you so much. And I'll catch you on our next upload.